This team stinks. This team is abysmal. This team is incompetent. Whatever you want to say. But yeah, the Rangers fall in San Jose. And this team is who they are. I mean, there's no surprise there, but you know what? I can't wait to see the post-game quotes. And I could tell you right now what the post-game quotes are going to be from guys like JT Miller or mostly JT Miller, the fantastic captain, Mr. Empty Calories himself, JT Miller. I could tell you exactly what he is going to say. Well, after that first period, when we let up the first three goals, I thought we did a good job of keeping them in the game or keeping ourselves in the game and keeping it a game. Oh, it's going to be so funny to see that quote because he's going to say it. It's predictable at this point. The post game quotes, the outcome of these games, want a little bit of cash on them. So, not bad in that regard. Not bad. I mean, what do you want me to say? You're watching Macklin Celebrini go out there and nearly potting a first period hat trick while Alexi Lafreniere earlier today is saying, or yesterday, whatever you want to say, if you want to be technical. Nonetheless, you have Alexi Lafreniere saying, yeah, I'm not up to the level of those guys, talking about other first overall picks like Schaefer Hughes. He's like, I need to be better. Year six, and he's talking, I need to be better, while all these other first overall picks around him are just absolutely lighting the world on fire. Macklin Celebrini, I was foaming at the mouth of jealousy watching what he was doing out there. Connor Bedard, I see clips of him, what he's doing, and it's just, you get jealous. And then across town, you watch Matthew Schaefer with the Islanders, and then with this, you got Alexi Lafreniere doing cardio tonight in San Jose after talking about, oh, well, I need to be better. Go ahead and show it. It's like I say when JT Miller's like, yeah, I need to be better. We need to be better. Go ahead and show it. Hey, remember earlier in the year when it was, they're just getting unlucky, just, facing good goaltenders. Good times, huh? This team just has no talent. I can tell you that for free. I mean, it was embarrassing watching the first period of this game, especially the first 10, 15 minutes, where a mountain of penalties because Schneider can't be in position right. You have Mika take that early penalty. Robertson throwing the puck over the glass. I mean, they welcomed it right off the jump. Right off the jump. A minute, 9 seconds in, Celebrini showing what a real first overall pick looks like. And then, how about that second Celebrini goal, too? First of all, what a snipe. Second of all, JT Miller again. This is why I call JT Miller Mr. Empty Calories, because as much as JT Miller could put up the other way, which he's not even doing that this year, but if JT Miller puts up points the other way, it does not matter because he is on the ice for just as many against. It's just games like tonight, though, where I sit here and watch and wonder, how do you plan on building this thing back together? How? Because based on what we've heard, all it sounds like they're going to do at the deadline is sell off pending UFAs, and that's it. Because Braden Schneider maybe is going to be part of the core, may be part of the core. I can tell you right now for free, if you think Braden Schneider's part of a winning core going forward, then you are absolutely lost as an organization. You're absolutely lost. He blows and showed it once again tonight. To me, it's a failure of a deadline if they don't go into it and acquire and they don't walk away having 6 first round picks for between the next 2 years. If they don't have two first round picks between the next 2 years after this year's trade deadline, it's a failure because you already got three right now between your own and Carolina's or Dallas's, whichever it ends up being. But you already have three. Panarin should fetch you a first. Trocheck should be moved and should fetch you a first. He had a horrible game too. Nice to see all the guys that, you're looking to trade have horrible games tonight. But Trocheck should get you a first. And then Braden Schneider, because the league views him the way they do, not because he's actually good, you should be getting a first round pick there. And if you don't walk away with that quantity, or at least if you have, maybe it's not a 2027 first round pick, maybe it's a 2028 first round pick. If you don't walk away from this deadline getting 3 first round picks, then you're not serious about this retool thing like you claim you are. Then you're not actually retooling. All you're doing is you're going to let Panarin walk out the door, and then you're going to, sign a Kiefer Sherwood in free agency or flip these assets to try and get some young roster player that you're going to try to count on to save the team. And it's not going to happen because you're not one piece away. And that's what annoys me about this narrative that, oh, well, they'll get all these assets and then flip it for Jason Robertson. That's great. You could put Jason Robertson on this team all you want. I don't give a rat's ass because even though he is an elite talent, what is that doing for you when you still have 90,000 holes on the roster? That's basically, you're getting rid of Panarin and replacing him with Jason Robertson and expecting a different result. That's what it sounds like the plan is, and if that's the plan, we've lost the plot. But this is why, again, don't buy what this organization's trying to tell you with this letter garbage. It's a bunch of bullshit. It's a bunch of bullshit. Yeah, I mean, the only guy that might get traded that actually performed today are the only two guys, I guess you could say. Nah, only one guy I would say is Sam Carrick, who got that goal. I thought he played a solid game overall. I don't know if they're going to move him. I would, considering he has an extra year, and you could probably get a team to overpay for that because teams value guys with control and especially guys that could play center. So I'd love to sell on Sam Carrick right now. Not that he did anything wrong, but again, you got to get a youth movement going. I mean, what a nightmare, though, of a game for all the guys that you might want to trade. Carson Soucy. It's sad because they'll probably actually get something decent for Carson Soucy because let's go, big defenseman, and GMs automatically wet their pants. But he stinks. The fact that Anton Bleed was probably their second best forward tonight, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Leave a like, by the way, if you haven't. Subscribe. B-Rye saying, why do I keep watching this shit? Because we are sick in the head. Thankfully, I don't do these post games after every single game anymore, but we're sick in the head. There's something wrong with us that we watch these games. That we're up at almost 1 a.m. I'm up almost at 1 a.m. talking about this. We're not normal. We're weird people. Rangers lose 3 in a row. Yeah. A new level of suck. Keep the tank going. Baseball can't come soon enough. Yeah, get me the baseball season. That aged poorly last year when I was saying that, but I'd rather at least be able to consume a game and actually be emotionally invested compared to this where I'm not even emotionally invested. Sobering playing with the baby food against the Rangers is too predictable. Yeah. Good night to cash in on some bets there. Mika answering questions and fixing his hair for like 30 seconds nonstop. Not too bad of a game. Fall behind 3-0, then stayed in it. Even kept on shot second, third. Did not give it up an empty netter. That's a miracle. Not bad considering the state. It's sad that that's where the bar is. Alexei Lofren, where, how long till Dre realizes he can't get away with a retool and needs to rebuild the construction of the roster? Can't be from goaltending and defense. I mean, like I said a couple days ago, your best bet right now, the only way out of this right now is if the veterans just get so fed up with this that they all request out and you literally have no choice at that point but to rebuild. Like all of a sudden, JT Miller requests out. All of a sudden, if they don't move Trocheck, he requests out. That's your only way of actually going in that direction. And the sad part is, I don't know if that's going to happen. Yeah, they say the same things. What are we retooling? Well, it depends who you ask. I mean, if you ask the GM, he's apparently retooling this roster. He wants to keep this core intact, or parts of this core intact. See, that's my favorite part too about this whole letter is that he basically contradicts himself in the entire thing, being like, yeah, we want to retool, but we also want to keep the core together. It's like you can't have it both ways. You're not retooling then. All that tells me is what I just said before, where you're going to move off the pending UFAs, you're going to get rid of Carson Soucy, you're going to get rid of Artemi Panarin, and whoever else I'm forgetting, you're going to get rid of those guys. And then you're just going to try to put a band-aid on this in the offseason. That's what I think is going to happen, but Drury doesn't have a plan. So I don't know if that's even what it is in the cards. But I just want to read that paragraph again in the letter. The second paragraph, because it's so stupid how he's telling you a fable. Like that's all he's done ever since he stepped into the GM role is tell fables to the fan base. But this was just next level. Like I'm gonna read it again because it just blows my mind still, what, a week or two later. With our position in the standings and injuries to key players this season, we must be honest and realistic about our situation. Before I even read the rest, again, chalking this up to injuries. He's trying to blame the injuries. We are not going to stand pat. A shift will give us the ability to be smart and opportunistic as we retool the team. This will not be a rebuild. This will be a retool around our core players and prospects. I don't understand what that even means. So we're retooling, but we're not getting rid of our quote unquote core players, which I still don't know to this day who they are, and prospects. So you're not changing the roster. That sounds like you're not changing the roster. We will target players that bring tenacity, skill, speed, and a winning pedigree with a focus on obtaining young players, draft picks, and cap space to allow us flexibility moving forward. Meanwhile, his entire tenure has been doing the ass opposite, by the way. That may mean saying goodbye to players that brought us. Yeah, I don't need to read the rest of that. He's telling you a fable. That's all you need to know. You are being told a lie, like you have all the time, because that's all they do. Chris Drury, he tried to get Jack Eichel. He tried to get Jake Gensel. He tried to do this. He tried to do that. Lies. I'm telling you, GMs view him differently than we do somehow. I don't know why, but they do. Yeah, this would be a jury thing to do. Tank value of the guys by announce it publicly. The sad part is the fire jury chance probably will be paused for now because he put out that bullshit letter to try and save face. But again, anyone with a brain knows that you're being you're being told a lie. Shanahan is coming. If Shanahan's the answer, then I mean, if that's what their answer is going to be, if they fire Drury and bring in Shanahan, I wouldn't be shocked. Um, is it better? Sure, but why? But why? Why pluck a guy from a winning organization? We could get a guy that built up, that's known for building up the chokers in Toronto. And yes, this is why I was against the Igor extension. You can't build from the net out and look at what the roster is without him. Look at what it is. Yeah, it's simply a PR stunt. It's simply a PR stunt. Yeah, David Quinn's running the defense. I'm surprised the Sharks didn't score more goals. Me too. Honestly, I am shocked as well. Um, the real Capo Caco, no way. Thank you for the $5. So unfortunate management won't change for a while. We are absolutely cooked, even if we get the number one pick, GG. Yeah, because the sad part is this year it doesn't seem like there's a consensus number one pick. You're hearing attitude issues about Gavin McKenna. You know, there are flaws potentially with a guy like Stenberg, who is probably my favorite and the guy I would want first overall. But we know Drury's not going to draft someone that's not American first overall, or at least from North America. You're out of your mind if you think he's drafting a non North American first overall. Keaton Veroff, I think, is fine, but I wouldn't. He's not a first overall pick guy. And then, who's the other guy I'm forgetting right now? I don't know why I'm forgetting. Oh yeah, Tynan Lawrence just got his first goal in the NCAA. I know he's getting acclimated, but he just got his first goal. No one's jumping off the charts here and giving, yeah, this is the slam dunk guy to go first overall vibes right now. Which means they'll get it. I'm not even going to lie to myself about this, though, unfortunately, because I can't do it. Because I don't trust Chris Drury's drafting. I can't lie to myself on these prospects. Just do a rebuild and keep Fox and Shesterkin. I got to be honest with you. If they actually were to go in a full teardown rebuild, you trade those guys too. Um, as much as I love Adam Fox, and it would suck to get rid of him. But if you're full tearing it down, by the time you're out of this rebuild phase, he's going to be on the wrong side of 30. And not to say that he's not going to put up good years by the end of that, but the haul that you could get for Adam Fox if you moved him. Again, I like him. Um, One of the few players I do like on this team is Adam Fox. I'm not opposed to moving him if you're actually going to blow this thing to the studs, which is what they should be doing. And again, truthfully, that is where you'd get the best return. You are talking multiple first round picks. You are talking at least one A level prospect, at least one B level prospect. You are talking a king's ransom. Look at what David Juracek got. Imagine that on steroids for Adam Fox. But unfortunately, they want to go in this retool direction, which it's not going to go well. That's not how you build a team. And yeah, this was my entire point. Even with a retool, by the time these guys develop, the rest of the guys are going to be on the wrong side of 30. If they're not already, they're just going to be deep in their 30s. Yeah, because his idea of winning pedigree is let's also talk about this. Mr. I want to acquire guys with winning pedigrees. Last year's trade deadline or trade acquisitions in general. JT Miller from Vancouver. Yeah, that screams a winning team. Carson Soucy from Vancouver. Once again, yeah, winners. Will Borgen from Seattle. Yeah, that's really a winning hockey club there with one playoff appearance in their entire franchise existence, even though it's been a short time. You get the point. Who am I forgetting? Juuso Parssinen. Yeah, they got him from the Avalanche, but he was a journeyman before that. What were the other trades? Am I blanking? I mean, Nick Aube-Kubel, who they pulled from Buffalo, whatever. But they pull from losing organizations. But Chris Shore is trying to lie and tell everyone, yeah, I want to get players with winning pedigrees. Okay, then why did you not want to get Jake Gensel at the trade deadline? Yeah, and then the prospects that we're building around, the prospects that we're allegedly building around, are they in the room with us? Is it bad that you want? No, it's not bad. I'm openly going to admit it. I root for them to lose every single game right now. I am proud to say that I root for them to lose because that's where we're at. Because they need changes and they need to tank. The Lafreniere experiment's long done. And now, once again, just like always, Drury's going to move him now that his value's gone. And they're going to get nothing for him. Like, the Shane Wright thing that I'm seeing online. Shane Wright. This is where we're at. That Shane Wright. Shane Wright. It's gross. It is absolutely gross that Shane Wright. That's what we're talking about now. Shane Wright. Another bust. Another guy that has work ethic issues. That's the guy. Shane Wright. Yippee. I don't know what they're waiting for, especially with Panarin. With Panarin, I don't know what they're waiting for at all. Because do you want to just keep playing these games and having him potentially get hurt? He was out there for the last like 4 minutes of this game. once again, great way to protect your most valuable trade asset heading into the trade deadline. Phenomenal job. This team is just unbelievable. Yeah, and that's who the Rangers pluck from. They pluck guys from that organization. They saw JT Miller from that organization and said, that's the guy that's going to turn things around. Awesome. What's going on, NY Temporary? I'm doing all right, though. How are you? Would I be more upset if Laffer Schneider's on the team next season? Schneider by a long shot, only because that means they gave him an extension. That means they overpaid him to whatever contract he's going to get. So that's my answer. At least Lafreniere, it is what it is. You could tell me that they couldn't find a return they wanted. And, they're trying to sell this whole thing that, oh, we could fix him, which I think is complete bullshit as well. But that is not as bad as if they gave Braden Schneider a long-term deal. The whole injury thing is stupid because he's the injury thing's stupid because he doesn't back check and it's an upper body injury. Yes, that is something I am considering. What's going on, Dave? Yeah, right. We'll fit in with Miller, yeah, since he has attitude problems. Fit in to replace the Lafreniere role. I mean, the fact that I'm seeing fans online talking, yeah, let's go get Shane Wright. Let's go get Shane Wright. This is where we're at. That we're down bad for Shane Wright. Shane Wright. Thank you for the $5, Jay Lewis. Other teams have successful top picks producing, but not the Rangers. Yet Glass and Ormeyer are still employed. That is untrue. I don't get this at all. That's what I was saying a couple of days ago when I went live and with Big Apple Hockey, and Philk and I had a little bit of a back and forth because that was my point. Drury could have fired these clowns, and he didn't. He didn't. Forget about top picks. Other organizations are able to find guys in the late rounds of the draft to produce for them. Tampa Bay just constantly has a cycle of guys coming through and producing constantly. With us here in New York now. Nope. Gonna slowly become the new Buffalo. Might be worse. Did I read Vince's new article? Drury and Dolan are such clowns. To be honest, I did not. I think they're not playing Dylan Garand at this rate because he will legit get torched with this defense in front of him. Like beyond torch. He also hasn't had the best season in Hartford, but that's also because Chris Drury provides no depth in the organization. And also because Chris Drury has done nothing good to replace Benoit Allaire ever since his departure. And I get that it's hard to replace a guy like Benoit Allaire. They don't grow on trees. There's a reason he was so special and with the organization for a while. But that is your job to find good goaltending coaches. Your job. All right, I know who this is. I am. Oh my God. Um. Yeah, they developed Matt Rempe. Matt Rempe. Matt Rempe. Yeah, I'm upset about it too because I did also place a straight bet on celebrating to have 3 points, and in the first period, I was feeling so good. I'm like, oh shit, no way, I'm about to get this. Maybe even in the first period. I don't know. Like I've had enough even with Adam Edstrom. I've had enough. This guy is always hurt. I'm done treating him like he's, some big piece for the fourth line. Sure, when he's there, it's better. He's never there. He's always injured. I don't know. I'm at a point where I'm frustrated with everyone. But yeah, he's always hurt. Yeah, I mean, the thing is too, it's just like these are the names. It's gross. Like it's gross that these are the names that we talk about. Like we're holding on to an Adam Edstrom and we're hanging our hats on a Yaroslav Chevar. Like these are replaceable guys. This is just disgusting. Hanging in a different part of my room on the wall. Somewhere over there in the corner. Because I reconfigured things in my room a bit. I saw the Protus thing. I don't think the Rangers are getting Protus. There's no way Washington's gonna give up Protus. There's absolutely no way. Um, what I do think could happen for Panarin, a return that I've been saying would be pretty nice, is if you could get, I don't know the what the return's gonna look like for Panarin, but if you could get something along the lines of Andrew Cristall, this is if it's a deal with Washington, Andrew Cristall, who's having a nice year down with in Hershey, Cole Hudson, who would drastically improve this the prospects on the blue line since they legit have none. And not only that, they are desperate for left shot defensemen. Like it is just bad at this point. He's having a solid year right now over at BU. So you also have that connection, got a lot of our Boston guys. And a first round pick. If you could get me that kind of return, would be to the moon about it. Carolina's the other team I've seen. If you could get me, I saw Nichishkin. I can't say his name at all for whatever reason. Um, but either way, if you could get me him, that'd be great. But I'd expect a Bradley Nadeau. Like if you could get me that one of their defensive prospects, which I'm not too familiar with in Carolina's system and a pick, be happy there. What were the other teams that were interested? I like Vegas is interested. I don't know what they'd have to give up. You could get Connolly, but I'd rather get someone from one of these other systems, to be honest with you. Um, San Jose, I mean, who they just played, that's a team that's been linked to Panarin lately. I don't know what you'd get from San Jose though. I really don't, because I don't know what they'd be willing to sell off. Oh, man, they have a lot of prospects right now. I mean, you could sell me on a Quentin Musty. That's a name that I remember liking at one point. Cole McKinney, who was just drafted, that was another guy that I liked. Um, yeah, I'm not sure what you could get there from San Jose because, like I said, I don't know how much they want to give up when they're probably still a bit away from being cup contenders. Um, no, he'll pass on Hudson because Hudson actually can move the puck. That's why. No, there's a way Panarin goes to Washington. You could sell Panarin on the idea of Washington could help him win, or he could go there and help them win, rather. Yeah, we do need left shot defenseman. That's where the Anaheim Ducks could be a trade partner. Um, I don't know if the Ducks want to move Pavel Mintyukov, which we heard rumors about before. But if you could give me that, Roger McQueen, and a first, I mean, shit, you got yourself a deal. You got yourself a deal. I would even take a Roger McQueen and a first and like a mid round pick. I would even take that. I like Roger McQueen. I worry about the injury stuff with him. That was the one thing that knocked him down the draft. But um, yeah. Why nobody willing to entertain Panarin to the Islanders? Because the Rangers and Islanders never make trades. And also, I don't know what the Islanders would give up. Like, unless they're willing to give up a Callum Ritchie, Cole Iserman, Victor Eklund. I mean, sure, I would take any of those guys, but there would have to be a crosstown rival tax here that the Islanders would have to pay more no matter what. And to me, the deal has to be structured where they're getting a forward prospect, a defensive prospect, and a first round pick. That's how I think that's the return that you have to get, in my opinion. Otherwise, you botch the trade. And yes, the Islanders do have a ton of assets, but are they going to be willing to part with that many? And especially again to the Rangers, I don't see it. I don't see it. The Islanders would be the perfect match if the Rangers and Islanders were not division rivals. If it was like a Mets Yankees thing where, they're in different conferences, sure, you could sell me the idea because I would gladly take a lot of these guys the Islanders have in their pool, but I don't know if they want to give up some of these guys. Yeah, Dolan wouldn't allow it either. I think there's been, I think you can count on one hand the amount of Ranger Islander trades there have been, at least of like significance, maybe. Forgot how many. Because Anthony was talking about it. Anthony LaRocco on Big Apple Hockey. I think you mentioned like 4 trades. I don't know if that was of significance or just in general, but you're missing the point though that yes, sure, they're not rivals because one team sucks and one is good, but you have to view it from the standpoint of do the Islanders want to move prospects that could be good and help the Rangers for years to come for half a year of Artemi Panarin when they might not be when the Islanders are not in a spot where they're not one piece away. They're not an Artemi Panarin away from being a cup contender. That's that's just not realistic. It's just not. Again, as much as I would love some of these prospects they have, like Cole Iserman, um, Victor Eklund, Callum Ritchie, like Danny Nelson, we have to be realistic here. And even if he does re-sign there, you're talking about a 34-year-old winger. And again, do they want to help the Rangers load up their farm system? It's not. I'm willing to put money on it. If I am wrong, I am wrong. I would put every amount of money possible and then some that he's not being traded to the Islanders. There's a reason we haven't even heard him linked to the Islanders. We've heard him linked to Carolina. We've heard him linked to Washington, Florida, Tampa, Colorado, Vegas, Anaheim, San Jose. Yeah, Panarin just doesn't fit Darsh's timeline for the group they have. If they want Panarin, they'll get him in free agency. They're not going to give up a king's ransom at the deadline here for half a season of Panarin when, again, they're not a Panarin away. They'll pursue him in free agency if they want him. Yeah, I wanted to keep Kane around too, Mike Enwire for life. Yeah, I'm with you guys. I was really freaking happy when Kane was here, and they should have kept him. He only wanted to be here, and they just pushed him out the door. Pushed him out the door because for whatever reason they thought Blake Wheeler. For whatever reason they thought, yeah, well, it's not this core's fault. It was the surrounding cat. It was the supporting cast fault. They took the chance on him when he was on one hip, but they didn't want to give him a chance when he actually got healthy. It just, just so stupid. It was just so stupid the way they handled that entire thing. Then you could have talked about having Kane that year, and then you could have got Gensel at the deadline, and your top six could have had both those guys. And yeah, the Twitter doctor said Kane's career was over and Gensel's was over because Gensel had that broken finger at the deadline. We can't forget that. So both of them, sadly, their careers ended at that point. I don't know if I agree with that part, Chris, of Kane not getting along with anyone, but I can tell you right now, the fact that he got blamed by this fan base, him and Tarasenko got blamed by this fan base for being poor deadline acquisitions is still the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Let's blame the 3-time Stanley Cup champion Conn Smythe winner and also another Stanley Cup champion who are elite players, let's blame those guys and not the core. Because I want to preface that before the Barkley Goudreau hive comes in. There's a difference between winning cups and being an elite player on those teams and, you know, just being there. Well, but Tampa doesn't win without Barkley Goudreau. Stop. Stop. Kane had the most points in that Devil series. Yep, but it was his fault, apparently. It was his fault. It was not Mr. 007 Alexi Lafreniere. It was not. How many points did Panarin have? 2, right? 2 points. Zibanejad had 4 points, 1 goal for him. And I think Panarin had 1 goal, or maybe not. Nope, Panarin didn't even have a goal. So you had 1 goal combined between Panarin and Zibanejad. Mr. 007 Alexi Lafreniere. Somehow, though, it was Patrick Kane's fault. Somehow, it was Vladimir Tarasenko. How could they? How could those guys who were brought in to be the supporting cast, not the saviors, how could those guys do such a thing? How horrible. Yeah, because Kane had what, 6 points? Yeah, it's 6 points. And I always forget Tarasenko's with the Wild now. Tarasenko, how many points did he have? He had 4. 3 goals. 3 goals. Yes, Mikkel, you're talking about there. Thank you for the $5, Jay Lewis. Chances Rangers trade Panarin and have nothing to show for it. Only a few years later, like the McDonough trade. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they botch this. I know they're gonna botch it. Needed Blake Wheeler over Kane. Could have had both. They shouldn't have even bothered with Blake Wheeler. If you were gonna go the route of getting someone that is on the back end of their career, why didn't you just keep the guy that is rehabbing and getting healthy and has shown more recently he could be an elite player? It just never made sense. That's why it's just so frustrating. All of the arguments where it's like, oh, well, they should have got Barbashev at that deadline because they saw Barbashev win a cup in Vegas. Stop it. Just stop. Stop and wake up. Like, look at what these core guys have done. Yeah, Kane wasn't friends with Truba, and Kane was a meanie pants, apparently. Kane was a locker room cancer, according to um Twitter users. He was a cancer. He walked into that room and he told him. Oh, he told him. How horrible. Because how horrible would it be to have a guy that has won 3 Stanley Cups, being an elite player on those teams, winning a Conn Smythe? How horrible is that to have in the dressing room? Horrible. Yeah, no, JT Miller, though, not a cancer. No. Nope. Miller, yeah. Miller, yeah. Yeah. No, I don't think there was actually locker room issues, Chris. When Kane was here. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there was. And you know what? Maybe you are right. And maybe this loser group of players, I'm looking specifically at Truba with this, was like, yeah, I thought he was overstep. I could imagine, you know what? I can imagine Truba being that way, being like, yeah, Chris, don't bring Patrick Kane back. He was overstepping my leadership abilities a little bit too much. Like, take a fucking seat. I can tell you right now, if that actually happened, which I believe that it probably did, because that's just how Truba is, I would have said, the door's right there. Don't let it hit your ass on the way out. I think maybe it's what happened with Truba. I think you might be on to something there. Um, I don't see it with some of these other players. I mean, there were so many times guys like Adam Fox talked about how he grew up idolizing Kane, and Lafreniere even has said the same. Those guys have talked so highly about him, but I can imagine Truba being that way, where it's like, yeah, Kane was actually trying to be a leader and everything, and then Jacob Truba being Jacob Truba. I do blame the team because if they were willing to take the chance on him while his hip was banged up, why are you not willing to take the chance on him after he got the surgery and the surgery was naturally going to repair it? It's the same thing with Jack Eichel. That was the whole thing with Jack Eichel, where it's like, oh yeah, people shouldn't be taking the risk because this surgery's never been done before on a player. How is that age for Vegas? How is that age? And I'm not trying to compare the two because Kane is on the back end of his career at the end of the day, but it's just my point. See, I would agree with the age point if they didn't sign 40,000-year-old Blake Wheeler on July 1st. Yeah, that trade's kind of become a wash, to be honest with you. All right, guys. I'm going to wrap things up here. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe, turn on your notifications. And I don't know when the next stream will be, but I'll see you guys in the next one.